10,000 citizen soldiers jog a dusty plain, armor clattering. In front of them, the greatest empire on earth. Behind them, their homes and families. If they lose, Athens burns. If they win, they still have to race the enemy fleet to save the city. This is Marathon, when a small democracy gambled everything on speed, discipline, and nerve. Here's the setup. The Persian Empire, ruled by King Darius, is vast, Egypt to India vast. Athens had angered it by helping rebels in Ionia. Persia responds with a punitive expedition across the Aegean. They sack Eretria. Next on the list is Athens. A Persian armada puts troops ashore on a long, flat beach at the Marathon Plain, perfect ground for archers and cavalry. Athens needs help fast. They send their best distance runner, Phidippides, to Sparta, roughly 240 kilometers, begging for immediate aid. Sparta praises the courage and promises to march after a religious festival ends. Translation, not in time. So it will be Athens and 1,000 Plataeans against a Persian force at least twice their size, maybe more. Numbers vary in the sources. The imbalance does not. What the Greeks do have is an edge in how they fight. Citizens in bronze helmets, carrying heavy round shields and long spears, stand shoulder to shoulder in a dense formation called the phalanx. It's built for shock, for impact, for staying power. The Persians, by contrast, rely on arrows to soften an enemy, then use cavalry and mobile infantry to finish the job. On flat ground, with space to maneuver and rain arrows, Persia usually wins. There's also a leadership puzzle. Athens has 10 elected generals rotating day-by-day command. Committee warfare, basically. But one voice cuts through the noise. Miltiades. He argues they must attack now, before Persian cavalry can dominate the field or sail elsewhere to strike an undefended city. The deciding vote belongs to the polemarch, Callimachus. He chooses to fight. Miltiades' plan is counterintuitive and brilliant. He strengthens the wings of the Athenian line and thins the center. He intends to let the middle bend under pressure while the reinforced flanks smash the Persian edges. It's a trap made of humans. And one more twist, he'll make his heavy infantry run. Not the whole way, just the deadly stretch where Persian arrows could tear them apart. Close the distance, nullify the archers, hit before cavalry can reconfigure. It's strategy as timing. Dawn on the plain. Two armies face each other across scrub and open ground. On the Athenian side, shields overlap, spear points jut forward, breath fogs on the morning air. Opposite, Persian archers knock and draw. Then the Athenian line steps forward, first a walk, then a jog, then a sprint. Imagine it. Armored citizens, 8 ranks deep across the plain, running to smash an imperial army before the arrow storm can do its worst. They hit like a door slamming. The Persian front recoils. At the center, the thinned Greek line buckles exactly as planned. The Persians press through the middle. For a moment, it looks like the classic imperial script, break the enemy center and roll the rest. But out on both wings, the heavier Greek formation crushes the lighter Persian infantry. Those wings then pivot inward. Think of a book closing around the Persians' open pages. A double envelopment takes shape in dust and shouting. Panic spreads. Men crowd back toward their ships. Combat collapses into chaos among ropes, gangways, and anchors. The Athenians try to seize the transports. It's a brutal, close-quarters fight. Callimachus, the official war leader, is killed in the melee. The Persians manage to get many ships off the beach and pull out to sea, battered but not destroyed. Casualties? Ancient figures claim around 192 Athenians dead and several thousand Persians. Modern scholars disagree on exact numbers, but the scale is clear. The Athenians win decisively in the face of superior numbers. And yet the most important part of the story is what happens next. The Athenians realize the battle isn't over, it's halftime. The Persian fleet can sail around Attica to Athens' harbor and strike while the citizen army is 40 kilometers away. So the hoplites shoulder their heavy gear and move. Some accounts say they ran, others that they force-marched without rest. Either way, they cover the distance with astonishing speed. When Persian ships appear off Phaleron, they see not a defenseless city, but a line of spear points waiting. The fleet turns away. Somewhere in this blur of effort, later storytellers locate a single exhausted runner carrying the news to Athens. "We win!" before collapsing. Was that Phidippides after the battle? Was it a different messenger? The specifics have tangled, but the idea sticks. Centuries later, the modern marathon race takes its name and eventually its standardized 26.2-mile distance from this feat of endurance associated with the battle. So why did marathon matter? Not because it ended the Persian threat. 10 years later, a bigger invasion would come. Marathon mattered because it proved a citizen army fighting for its own city could defeat a superpower by choosing time and terrain wisely. It gave Athens confidence. That confidence fuels the naval buildup pushed by leaders like Themistocles and sets the stage for the defeats of Persia at Salamis and Plataea a decade later. Marathon is the opening act in a larger drama. What did it change in military thinking? 3 things. First, timing. Miltiades attacks when Persian cavalry are not fully engaged on the plain. Strategy isn't just what you do, it's when you do it. Second, formation as weapon. The phalanx works because men hold their nerve, shield to shield. It's less about individual heroics and more about disciplined cohesion. Third, distance management. By sprinting the killing ground, the Athenians turn the Persians' best asset, the arrow storm, into a limited resource. They compress the window of vulnerability to seconds, then cash in with shock. What did it change politically? A victory by citizen soldiers is potent propaganda for a young democracy. Veterans gain prestige. The city's belief in its institutions hardens. Athens steps into a bigger role in Greek affairs, not just as a place of ideas, but as a power with teeth. Marathon becomes a story Athenians tell themselves about who they are, unwealthy farmers and craftsmen who laced up, took the field, and won.